Good afternoon, greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. It's 2025. We're back and better than ever. We've got Sarah Tymon here as well as Ed Parker from our team, two incredible agents. We all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we are covering a whole bunch of topics today. We've got some questions. If the spring demand has already sprung, we're going to jump into that next. Sarah and I, and we'll have Ed do this too, we're going to get a little DraftKings action going here with our market predictions for 2025 and explain to you what we think is going to happen there. And then in the third segment, we've got Ed here for a lot of reasons, but one of them is he had 263% growth in his business. That is not a typo. Yeah, I like it, Sarah. There we go. And you should see his face. You should feel good about that, man. That's incredible growth. We're going to talk to you about how you did that because most businesses, if they're lucky, grow 10, 15, 20% every year. So if you get some value out of this, you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team to talk about the spring demand or market predictions or your real estate needs, you can do that with the link in the comments. So spring demand. So you two are out in the field. You're meeting with buyers and sellers. Before I start to go over some of this data, what are you feeling in terms of demand right now in the marketplace? Like what's happening 7 days into 2025?
Yeah, so I've definitely noticed the wheels turning for some people and people that I'd been talking to leading up to, I would say, the last week and a half of the year, like 2 weeks of the year, where there was, there tends to be a little bit of a drop off. I had a few people who were, still out taking a look then, but were pretty excited to see what would happen as the year turned over here. I mean, I have been seeing both properties coming up and definitely a handful that are going to be hitting the market, I think, this Friday. The 10th has been like a big day that I've noticed for coming soon listings.
Well, it's the first full week of the year, so I think there's a lot of pre-planning there, like we talked about. Ed, what about you, man? I mean, you've been rocking and rolling here. You're doing a lot of deals. What are you seeing now, a couple weeks into the year?
I mean, yeah, I see more coming soon. My investor, I have a coming soon. It hits the market Friday. He wanted to wait for the 10th, just like you were saying, for that exact reason. A lot of buyers I was talking to before took a time off with the holiday. Now they're ready to ramp back up. They've already texted me. I've reached out to them. They said, we're looking. We're waiting for more inventory, but right now we are looking. So if we come across something, we want to go see it.
So what you're seeing in the field is reflected in some of the data. So that's where I come in, right? So if you look at our 2024 year-end numbers, the weekly pending sales. So we're coming into the year in 2025 with 260,329 homes across the country that are under agreement right now. Last year, that number was 247,652, and in 2023, it was 231,127. So that's a 5.1% increase just in the number of homes that have been under contract walking into the new year. That's a pretty significant jump. And, I think it's important that we're coming off these, like, very low number. Like, anything's going to move the needle a little bit. Then when you look at the mortgage purchase applications index, so that's a number based on the applications that are filed, that number is coming in at 157.1 at the end of December. Compared to 2023, it was 148.7, which is a 5.64% increase. So what we're seeing here, and I think that you're seeing it in the field, we're seeing that there's listings coming to the market, but most importantly, this notion that there's not demand out there. I mean, we're seeing the past 2 years get outpaced, which I think is pretty pertinent. So what are some of the things you're hearing from folks? Like, are you getting any pushback that we're going to see a hot start to the year? What are clients saying to you that aren't ready to get out in the field right now, that maybe are a little hesitant? Because I always like to show the data so we know exactly what's happening, not just dealing with like anecdotes and like thoughts in your head.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've had starting, it was kind of funny, New Year's Eve. I started getting some texts from people, and throughout really this first, the first week here in, I've been reached out to by people that I had not heard from for a while. So I think that there are people that are kind of hitting the new year, ready to go, ready to make some moves. There's certainly a handful that are going to be saying they want to wait for, a few more months. They want to see where the inventory goes. They want to see what else comes to the market. But being able to just kind of educate them, and what I typically like to do if I know what type of home a client of mine is looking for on like the buy side is making sure to kind of highlight individual homes, not just part of the regular search, but like, hey, like this one's here now, or this one's coming soon and hitting the market on the 10th, would be worth taking a look at. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, well, I think we want to talk about what's actually going on in the market. So, I mean, Ed, you've been rocking and rolling as well. So, I mean, what are some of the things people are saying that you know aren't true, and how are you helping them kind of see the actual data in the marketplace?
I mean, I've just had some people tell me who are excited, ready to look now, but they're not seeing what they like. The inventory still isn't there, but things are going to progress in a positive way. We're already seeing that with the coming soon, so there's only more is going to come.
Well, and I think it's important to hey, I hear you. Because some people, just because inventory is rising doesn't mean they're seeing what they want. I think you got to kind of acknowledge that, and I hear you, and what we know is that we don't know when the right home is going to come on the market, Sarah. Ed, I'm not sure when that's going to happen. So rather than be like scrambling when you see it and be late to the party, why don't we get together now and get clear on what you're actually looking for, and then you can use what Sarah's talking about, that highlight strategy, really critical, because when you bring properties to your clients, it just makes them feel better about what you're doing. I mean, have you ever had a client tell you, like, oh, you're not doing anything for me, you just got me on an email list? I've heard this before. I don't know about you guys. So that extra effort goes a long way for people.
Yeah.
So with this, kind of demand that we see happening, I mean, we know that rates are kind of hovering around 7%. We've got a jobs report coming out this week that'll be pretty pertinent with what happens with rates. I'm curious. Are you hearing people saying like they're waiting to see if rates are going to come down a lot? Has that been a big objection?
I've heard rates come up. I would say more so from people who are not actually looking. Like,
interesting.
As you're at like holiday parties and like family gatherings and like things, like I had quite a few aunts and uncles bring up rates to me, and they're not people that are currently in the market to look. They're just kind of seeing some different headlines. So, I mean, rates are always going to be a factor and something that people are kind of working into what makes sense for them, what the bottom lines are. But for my people that are actually kind of like out on the ground, I haven't had that be a major objection.
Yeah, I feel like some people just like to talk about it for the sake of talking about it.
Right.
Just
It's like one of those.
Something.
Yeah, it's like one of those points at like, like how's real estate? Oh, tell me about the rates,
Yeah, back in my day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with that. The people who are actually looking, is it in the back of their mind? Yeah, but they know they can get a lower rate later. Just buy the house now.
Well, I think, and the facts are that rate projections, I mean, the average rate projection is 6.34% by the end of the year. So they are going to come down a little bit. There's a wide range there. And I think, Sarah, you hit the nail on the head, which is the people that are serious. They're buying no matter what the rates are, right? I mean, you're out with clients. They're not complaining about rates. They're looking for the right house is usually what it is.
Right. Yeah. For anybody that I've been like most recently showing properties to, rates have not come up.
Interesting. Well, I think people are just accepting of it too, right? I mean, this is a very normal rate historically, and there's some folks that I've heard like, hey, let's see what happens with the new administration. They're going to cut rates. They're going to bring these things down. They don't really have the control to do that, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. Just because the Fed, like they cut the rate on December 18th, but then what ended up happening is rates went up anyway because the jobless claims were and the jobs report were still strong. So. That really reinforces for the real estate agents listening. You got to figure out the motivation, probably more than anything else. So, tell me what you think of this, because I think inventory seems to be the bigger driver for people being in action. So there was a Redfin report that came out today, actually, that 34% of current homeowners plan to never, pretty strong word there, sell their homes, with baby boomers and Gen X owners leading the way. This was a report that came out today from Redfin, like I said, and there's an underlying survey conducted in September by Ipsos Market Research, and they had that 34% plan to never sell, 27% plan to wait at least 10 years before breaking out the for sale sign, 24% plan to sell in 5 to 10, only 8% plan to sell in 3 to 5, and 7% plan to sell in the next 3 years. Is that number surprising to you? Tell me more about how you're interpreting that data.
And this is of the category, which
so the people between 18 and 65.
So for the ones that say never plan to sell, I wonder if it falls into the lower, like age-wise, some of those like lower categories, would it be they would keep it as a investment property and then still also purchase something else and move on? Or, is it just like, no, this is where I am and I'm here?
Well, I've got the breakdown. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
So baby boomers, the respondents, that's people between 60 and 79, were 43% of the folks that said they'll never sell. Gen X, 34%. Millennials and Gen Z, 28%.
Okay.
And I have a hard time with that lower number there because I think some people are like, oh, my forever home, and they have like two kids, and they realize what happens with kids.
Right. I think it's one thing to say you're never going to be moving, and then,
Oh, I agree with that. I feel like you say that today, but then you realize when your kids get older or you want a bigger yard, school district.
Yeah, things change.
Yeah. Like, you don't know what's going to happen next year. Things change so fast.
For sure.
Well, they call those people the just because movers. They just want a bigger house or a nicer house. And a lot of them are staying put because it's too expensive. So I think it comes back to the rate conversation. Mm-hmm. But I know, like, I recently, my family's grown, right? You got a young daughter. Sometimes you're like, oh, we'll live in the city. We'll make this house work, right? And then you're like, this is horrible.
Right.
And it kind of changes your mind a little bit just because they have there's so many things you don't account for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at this, Redfin said that 39% said they won't sell because they paid off their homes. And 37% see no reason to move because they like their homes. 30% want to avoid high prices. Only 18% want to keep their low rates. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting. And 85% of homeowners right now, they have rates lower than 6%. So rates weren't as big of a deal as we thought.
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeing people willing to give up their lower rates right now? Anyone you're talking to that, they have like a 3 and they're thinking about moving anyway? What are you guys seeing in the field with the clients you're working with?
Yeah, but it's generally, there usually tends to be a couple different buckets that it falls into if they've got that low rate and they're still willing to move. Either they have more money and they can the trade-off of getting like the bigger house or the upgraded house or whatnot is worth it. So that is a pocket that I've noticed. There's also, like we were kind of just saying, family grows, the home no longer fits. Like, what if you've got a great rate if you're just on top of each other and, not happy in the home at like a certain point. I feel like it kind of falls into a category of it makes more sense to have a place that works for us than to have this low rate. So the life changes and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like if someone's going to move, they're going to move. I feel like at the end of the day, they'll look at their happiness over a number.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at this data, and I think this all has to do with this spring demand that's starting to spike here, it also explains why we haven't seen listings like pop up. Like if you look at listing levels right now, we're above 2020 levels, but we're not above 2019 levels. And that's really the big difference here. We're 27% more homes for sale for single-family home inventory than we saw at the beginning of 25 compared to 2024. Okay. But that's still way below like the beginning of 2020. And you really got to look at the end of 2020 more so than the beginning because that's before things like shut down. Mm-hmm. And what happened in 2019. So some perspective here. Right now there's 650,992 homes for sale. And if you look at January 2019, there's 817,000. So, I mean, you're talking about a lot less there. Even in January 2020, there was 763,000. So you're talking about, a significant amount of properties that are not on the market. Now, the good news is we're climbing up. I think you're going to see more and more of that. And some of these people that are holding on, I mean, I know I've got clients like this where they never thought they're going to move, and then something changed in their life. Like they decided it was time to downsize or a job relocation or something like that. So I think that's going to be the biggest drivers. Are they motivated? I mean, when you guys are talking to clients, because I think this is a trap a lot of agents fall into, they hear they got a home to sell and they're like a dog with a bone, right? Like they're like, oh, let me get in there for the listing appointment, which is one of the worst things you can do. Right. How do you qualify the motivation? Like what kind of questions are you asking? Because that's the people that are really going to sell. But a lot of folks just think, oh, they got a home to sell. I'm going to keep working and working and working with these people. We know it can take years. Mm-hmm. What do you do when you're on these calls and in these conversations?
Well, I mean, I think the first one, and this is very basic, but where are you moving to?
Yep.
Do you already have something? Do you need the sale of this home to be able to move on to to the next home? Or is it going to be in the area? Is it going to be out of the area? But really just that basic, like, so why are you moving? And then kind of let them talk.
Yeah, what are you looking for that your home doesn't have now?
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, and we talked about this. Like, there's the ALM script for Zillow Flex, right? Well, for a seller, it's like appointment, motivation, time frame. Like, that's really what you need to know, because there's no reason to move. Like, moving sucks, right? I mean, would you ever think about moving unless you absolutely had to?
No, like it's not fun. It's not fun.
Well, and especially once you get settled into a place,
right.
like, and it's just not good at all. So, I think that's what you really need to look at here. And the more that happens, I think that if someone's not that motivated, they're not going to move. Like, it's just that simple. And you're never going to motivate someone to do something for any other reason unless they have a place to go. And I think that's the big takeaway here. So, you're asking where they're moving to. What other questions are you asking? Like, are you trying to find out, like, where, like, do they have a plan? Is there like anything else you're looking for on these calls?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, what about kind of like what you had just mentioned here? What is it about this home that makes it how is this home not working for you anymore? Mm-hmm. And obviously, if their answer was like, we're relocating because of work, or there's certain answers that it's pretty obvious. But if they say something like, oh, it feels a little tight, or, whatnot, maybe they're going to ultimately end up doing the addition or finishing off the basement, or, you have to kind of figure out, like, is this a home that really isn't going to work for you? And where is it that you're trying to get next? And, how can those dots be connected? Because, if there is no sense of urgency, it's really easy to kind of kick the can for quite a while.
Well, and I think you got to look at, like, the D's, right? I mean, it comes down to this. So you're looking for clues, right? And we've studied this. We coach on this all the time. Diapers, right? So families need more home because they have more kids. Like, that's very simple. Diplomas or degrees, right? People, they move on. Like, the kids move out of the house and they got this big house. I mean, you got a lot of brothers and sisters, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'd imagine once everyone started moving out, it's like something your parents started talking about, right? Mm-hmm. My parents did the same thing. Divorce is unfortunately one of them. Death. I mean, that's a reason people sell. Diamonds, like, so if someone gets engaged, like, not everyone wants to move into the other person's house. Like, that's a very real thing. Downsizing, debt or default, discovery, meaning like they found another job somewhere else or they need to move to a new location. Like, there's got to be some sort of driver there, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. So when you look at this spring demand, I'm a big believer that this demand is from people that don't own homes as much as anything else. Like, what are some of the most motivated people you have now? Like, that what's their profile? Are they first time buyers? They move up? Like, what are you seeing?
First time home buyers.
First time home buyers coming up on renewing a lease.
Young couples buying a house together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's really important to serve those people, because when you look at, like, the net worth gap from people that own homes versus the ones that rent homes, the homeowners boast a median net worth of $396,500. You know what a renter's is?
What?
$10,400.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that's a significant divide, and it's really because you're basically just paying down a big bank account is what it comes down to. We can go through all the benefits of this, but there's a lot of reasons for that. Do you think that's a motivator for some of these people, or, like, I mean, you're the ones working with them? What do you is that a driver? They just want to own something? Like, what's their mindset right now?
Yeah, I'd say for, like, the younger people who are first time buyers, they know that they're throwing their money away at rent. Maybe they've tackled, because, like, not everybody does things in certain orders, but maybe, we got married, we've been renting for a little bit, we're ready to, to start building equity in something. And then I think also for people who I'm just trying to think of, like, other clients of mine that are pretty motivated right now. Those tend to be, like, relocation, or, like, just they need a different place.
I've had people, it's more of, we're ready to start our journey. Like, we're at that point in life. We need to move out of mom and dad's or stop renting and just start our journey, because in 10 years we'll be happy we did.
Right.
All right. So I'm a big believer this is going to be a busy first quarter. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. We're going to talk about how many homes are going to sell next when we make our predictions here, but this early indication of demand, seeing a 5.1% jump in pending sales, is good news, at least as far as I'm concerned. I think it's good for everybody here to see inventory and activity in the market. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to make some predictions here over-unders, any big predictions about the industry. Next on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
For the best local mortgage service and great rates on your money, look no further than Mortgage America. We've been operating in the greater Philadelphia area for 40 years with a focus on smooth, easy access to home purchasing. Whether you're a first-time buyer, upsizing or downsizing, or just refinancing, we have programs for you. We also have closing cost assistance programs and access to subsidized interest rates. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. To learn more, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000. We always have a person available to take your call with around-the-clock human service. Purchase your home with the personalized local service you find at Mortgage America.
Mortgage America is an equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
The Tom Toole Sales Group is the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania with over $165 million in volume for 2021. I'm Tom Toole, and our team has achieved that kind of success by being a great place to work with and to work for. No one knows Greater Philly better than we do. We know real estate, but more importantly, we're real people. We hire the best agents, and we give them all the tools to succeed. Even our brand new agents sell 17 to 24 homes a year because our team delivers the best experience in real estate. Teams deliver a better experience than individuals, and we're a top 1% real estate team in the country. We call it AAA service. We're your advocate, ally, and advisor. Because this isn't a transaction to us. It's a relationship. If you're buying or selling a home, call the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Sell your home for more, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com. Mortgage America is an equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line.
Welcome back to Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. He's Ed Parker. We all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we are making our predictions for what's going to happen in the market in 2025. We're going to talk about that all here next. We're also going to discuss how Ed grew his business by 263%. This is incredible growth for any business, and it's more than 10x what a good growth number should be. I mean, 10, 15, 20%, you're doing pretty well. So we're going to break that all down. If you like what you hear, you get some value out of this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and you want to schedule a call with our team, you can do that with the link in the comments. So apparently Ed's really excited. We're doing some gambling here, is what he revealed during the break. What app do you use? What's your preferred app?
I was a FanDuel guy, but I moved over to Fanatics. They give better boost, and it's faster and better.
Apparently, we're sponsored by Fanatics now. That'd be great. How great would that be if we were sponsored by Fanatics? That would be incredible. So, all seriousness, so we're gonna. What we did is we took some numbers here from experts across the country. We've got 3 categories, and we're going to talk about the local versus national numbers here. I think that's actually pretty important for this show in particular. And we're going to take the average of the predictions. So there's all sorts of predictors. We're going to talk about average home price, gain or loss, mortgage rates at the end of the year, where they're going to come in, or what the average is, and the number of homes that are going to sell. So I want to start with pricing. So the average home price prediction, and Lance Lambert over at Resi Club, he does a nice job condensing all this information, and they have home price forecasts for 2025. And there are a ton of different forecasts here. I mean, you look at these, like they're all over the place. There's the average out of 26 forecasts, and these are people like Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Redfin, Realtor.com, Fannie Mae, Zillow, NAR, Freddie Mac, you name it, PNC Bank. The average of all of these people is a 2.7% increase in home prices in 2025. Now, the range here is pretty wild. So you have people as low as negative 2%, which is Morgan Stanley. There's only 3 negative predictions. And the highest is 10.8% from Apollo Global Management. And that's way out there in terms of an outlier. After that, the next highest is 5.5%. So the average is 2.7. So, Ed, we're going to start with you. Do you think the over or under will hit for 2025 in terms of the average home price increase or decrease? In this case, is increase is going to be over or under 2.7%.
Yeah, I love that over.
So Ed likes the over. I'm going to take notes here, and we're going to come back to this next year. Sarah, what about you? Tell us more about why the over, Ed. You can't just say over.
Well, I like that over because of how many people were waiting to see what would happen with the election, with rates, and all those things. And now here we are in 2025. And I just think a lot of people are going to be out there. There's going to be a lot of consumers.
Yeah. I'm going to say over as well. But if we take this kind of more local, I would put us into somewhere between maybe 4.2 for.
All right. So Sarah's going out on a limb here. 4.2. I like that. So Sarah's got 4.2 locally.
But nationally, I would say we're still probably. Yeah, I'm going to still say over.
So I agree with you guys. I'm clear we're going to be on the over here for a lot of reasons. Now, you got to be careful because there's places like Florida where they have all this inventory, in Texas, and there's some challenges there for sure when it comes to inventory levels being elevated. So that's why the number's only 2.7%. Remember, it's a national number. I don't see any way prices don't go up at least 3 to 5% this year, and I would go even maybe higher than where you are, Sarah. In terms of the Philadelphia metro area, because we can't go like county by county.
Right.
That's going to be a little too in depth. But I would imagine we're at 5+%. If you were to ask me a range, I would say 4 to 6%. So north of 5 locally, because we just don't have the same inventory levels. Like we're still only at a 2.1, 2.2 months supply here when it comes to inventory in the greater Philadelphia area, and with inventory not growing at the rate we want to see it. Just to give some perspective, a year ago, the median list price in the greater Philadelphia area, according to Bright, it's up 6.6% through January 5th. So we're seeing some pretty large numbers here that come up. So we're all in the over on this. I think this is just supply and demand. There's not enough supply, excuse me, and there's a lot of demand. So we're all on the over on that one. I think that's pretty straightforward. Mortgage rates. So Lance Lambert and Resi Club did the same thing. They took all these different forecasts. There's 14 different forecasts. And you have a range of anywhere from 5.8 to 6.8%. The average of the 14 is 6.34. So this is where the fixed 30-year fixed rate will finish in 2025. That's the average. So it's the end of the year.
So we're not saying what it is throughout the year. It's where it's
going to finish
end
at the end of the year. This is what it is. So it's going to be over and under or under 6.34%.
I'm going to say under, but barely.
Okay, so a slight under for
Yes.
Sarah here. Ed, what do you got?
I think it's going to go over just because everyone thinks it's going to lower immediately, and I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that.
I'm going to go slightly over, and it's mainly because of the number. Because you don't get a mortgage rate at 6.34%. It's 6.375. So, and when you look at these stats here, I want to point out something. I think it's really important. Some of these forecasts are wildly inaccurate if the consistency of the message. So I'm going to point to NAR here. Their home price forecast for 2025 is 2%. They see 2% growth in prices. But their mortgage rate forecast is 6.2%. If rates get down to the low sixes, we're going to see a run on the market. What would the buyers you're working with right now? Hey, 6 1/8, 6.25. Would that get people pretty excited?
It would have me excited right now because I'm looking to buy this year.
All right, well, that's good data, right? But I don't see how you can forecast rates being this low and not seeing prices go up by more than 2%.
Yeah.
And this is there's my follow-up boss number. Fantastic. So I don't see where NAR can make that same prediction. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, if they're anticipating low growth, they should have a higher 30-year fixed forecast. And unless they anticipate something bad happening, maybe they know something we don't. But it just shows you that the stuff has got to be consistent here. So, all right, so Sarah's a slight under. I hope you win.
I do, for the sake of me buying this year.
Well,
But I mean, again, that's where I think it's going to end at. I think throughout the year, that's not what we would be.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're at like 7, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think there's any shot that happens. So and the Fed, the Fed's predicting they're going to make 2 interest rate cuts here. We know. I mean, I think a lot of this has to depend on the jobs market more than anything else. So, so Sarah's a slight under. Ed and I got the over. Last one here, and then I want to talk through some of this stuff. The number of home sales. So this one's a little tough because there's people predicting the average is like 4.6 to 4.8 million. I think that's a really high number. This year we ended right around 4 million, and what we did to get the number for the line for the over under, most people are predicting 5 to 9% growth in sales this year, right? So if we're at 4 million, 4.6 would be, I mean, that'd be incredible. And a lot, like, I'd be happy. I'm sure you guys would. We all sell real estate. That's great. I don't know how realistic that is. So 4.25 million is a number that Realtor.com asked people to predict at an event they had. It was their Thrive event. I didn't go, but I was invited to with some team leaders across the country. And if you're looking at coming off 4 million, we see 5% growth. That's kind of right at the bottom end of that. So do you see more or less than 4.25 million homes selling in 2025?
I think it's going over that just because, like I said earlier, how many people were waiting just because of the election year with rates and everything. And now I think more people, even from the COVID year, everyone that bought a house then, now we're coming 5 years later, I think they're going to slowly outgrow their house, want to move on,
Okay.
and they'll see people, how many sales are happening, and they'll want to jump on that train just like then.
So Ed's going with the over.
I think I'm going to go over too. Yeah.
Any further analysis?
Like,
here?
I don't see it going anywhere near that, like, 4.6 to 4.8 million range, but, like, I think it's going to go over the 4.25. Not like, I'm going to give it a slight over. I don't think it's going to be, like, crazy, but I think it's going to go over.
Okay. I also think it's going to be over, but I think it's going to be like 4.3. Like, I don't. It's not going to be much. So, mainly because people are getting on with their lives. I do agree. I think there's so many folks that they've put things on hold, and there's also more 30-year-olds than ever right now. Ed, you had a really great point. People that bought, and they just bought the first thing they could find in 2020, and now they're selling again. We've seen that happen a lot, or even 2021. So I agree with you there. I think it'd be good for the market if it's over. But 4.6, 4.8 million, that's an incredible number. That'd be way out of whack here. All right, so we're all in the over on number of home sales. What about any other like wild card predictions about the housing market? It could be the real estate industry. Anything else you see that might happen here? I've got a couple, but I'm curious what you two think in terms of like things that could go down in the market, whether it's, who knows? I mean, it could be anything. Could be. You tell. I don't want to give away my picks here.
I feel like there's going to be an updated, I don't know, like compliance rules for touring homes with buyers. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I feel like there's going to be some change to it.
I was honestly thinking that because I feel like it's going to keep evolving as we
Right.
move on.
Right. Like it's going to be like built off of it. Like there's still going to be something, but there's probably something that's there's going to be an updated form.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a wild card prediction, but I hear. So you're saying different protocols to touring homes?
Yeah.
Got it. I that might happen. I mean, you see what the DOJ is talking about, and they're saying, well, they don't like the idea of buyers having to sign agreements in order to tour homes, no matter what that is, and it actually works the opposite way they intended it to, which is how lawsuits work sometimes. So I think that's a good prediction. Any other wild card predictions before I give you what I got?
I think a lot of agents are going to leave the industry.
Okay.
Honestly, because a lot of people aren't making money off that, and certain agents are producing.
So last year, we could do another over under here, Ed, if you want. So the number of real estate agents that are in the industry, right? So there was just some data that came out about this. In February, there was 1.515 and change. So 1,515,837 licensed realtors. That's the only number we can track. We can't go with licensees. That's a 2.1% decrease from the previous year. There was just some data that came out. Let me pull this up here. Excuse me. All right, here's the data. So it just came out on realestatenews.com. That's Stefan Swanpole's channel, or his website, excuse me. That NAR's membership dropped to 1.498 million, the lowest figure since last March. They lost about 25,000 members during the month of December. So let's say the number's 1.5 million agents. Do you think it's going to be above or below?
At this time next year.
This time next year.
Below.
So Sarah's got the under on 1.5 million agents.
I should want to go with the under, but I think it's going to be a little bit higher.
I agree with Ed, and I'll tell you why. We're not in a renewal year. I think a lot of people just decided they weren't going to do things. You also look at the number of unproductive agents that are out there. 47% of real estate agents sold nothing this year or last year. So I don't care. Like, they're holding a license, great, but that doesn't really mean anything. It could very well be under. I think a lot of people thought that number was going to drop like substantially, and that could very well be the case. Now, 5 years from now, I think it could be like 1.2 or 1.3 million because people are going to just decide not to renew their licenses again. And I think there's going to be some stricter things. So, but everyone thinks that. Well, Ed, you're pulling an NAR here. You said you think there's going to be agents leaving the industry, but it's going to be above 1.5 million.
Well, when you gave the line out, gotta go with what the line is.
Okay.
Well, and I do agree with, because what I was thinking.
But then that would be over where they are right now, though, is what I'm saying. So you think there's going to be more? So I think you have to be an under based on your prediction.
All right, let's change that to the under then.
Well,
I thought the renewal year, like you made a really good point.
Right.
So,
Well, that's what I was thinking when I was deciding if it was going to be over or under. Like, I felt like with this being a renewal year, having to do the continuing education classes, like that would, that certainly factors in. But I also do think that we're getting into like a tougher time, and if you're not producing, at a certain point you got to leave. So
gotta pay the mortgage somehow.
yeah.
Well, and I think they may keep their license, and that's why I'm saying a couple years out you could see that number drop because I mean. I can't tell you how many people that like they're in the MLS, but they haven't done a deal in like years. Like it's very real. So the prediction I've got two for you. I think we're going to see a lot of mergers with local companies because there is aging leadership in the brokerage business right now. This is something T360 pointed out, where there's a lot of older broker owners, a lot of older leadership, and I don't know what they're going to do with these companies. I mean, you see people that are like 70, 80 running these companies. At some point, like, it's time to go. I hope I'm not working anywhere close to 70. I don't know about what your guys' plans are, but that's mine. The other thing I could see happening, and this was Byron Lazine on Knowledge Brokers talked about this. We saw how, I think it was when we were off, that Compass bought Christie's Real Estate, if you remember that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another big merger in real estate with one of these big box companies because some of these companies are not that profitable, like at all. I don't understand that. Obviously, we run a team. It's a little different with what we do. You guys are running your own business. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some mergers this year as well with people that are doing a lot of business and are profitable. So
I think that makes sense.
All right, that's our predictions. Very exciting. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, talk about Ed and his 263% growth in 2024. Next on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
You shouldn't have to deal with all the red tape when getting your mortgage from a big or online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options, and first-time homebuyer programs. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. For more information, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30-plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestatescholarshipprogram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline at tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America is equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline.
All right. Welcome back to Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. He's Ed Parker. We all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And Ed, Sarah had a great year. Let me just be clear. This is all about Ed right now. And Ed had incredible growth last year, 263% growth in his business. And I want to unpack it. I want everyone to know about Ed because he's the kind of agent, just like Sarah, just like myself, that people need in this market. They actually care about their clients. So if you get some value out of this, you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team, Sarah and Ed specifically, you can do that with the link in the comments. So Ed, 263% growth. This is incredible growth. Most people never see this in like 10 years, let alone within 1 year. So, the market evolved a lot in 2024. It was a lot different in 2024. And you accelerated your business when a lot of people, they had declines. I mean, and I think that's pretty incredible. So congratulations. We're grateful to have you on the team, obviously on a lot of levels. What do you think you leaned into last year that kept pushing your business forward?
Honestly, first thing was making sure I'm there for the trainings because that, honestly, it makes a difference. Keeps you up to date on all the statistics and everything, and just honestly picking the brains of all the agents on our team. People have been in this business for years. If anyone's going to know anything and how to adapt and move on in each moving market, it's them. I'm just very fortunate to have people like that to lean on. If I need anything with people like that, it just makes it easy.
So you're talking about tapping into people on the team. So like, let's go a little deeper. What kind of conversations are you having with these folks? Because, I think it's important to kind of go both ways with that for sure. But like, you're taking the initiative to do it. Some people are scared. They never do that stuff.
Yeah, I hate asking for help, but like being able and comfortable of doing that, knowing that I can do it, no problem. Like there's been times where I've called Ron or Paul 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, like, hey, I'm in this scenario. Like, what do you think? What would you do? Or like, this person said this. How would you respond to this? Or how should I respond to this? Or what do you think this should be priced out? What do you think of this comp? And just getting someone's a second opinion because that goes a long way. If they can see something I miss.
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking for help, right? That does take like a little bit of like an ego check, which I appreciate. I mean, I'm like I want to be the dumbest person in the room sometimes, right? Like or at the same time, you also got to help other people out. So you're leaning into the folks that have more experience. What has that done for you now a year later? Because I think that does take time to feel like okay with that. Like, have you ever struggled like asking for help before? Like you felt like kind of stupid about it or anything like that? I know I have.
100%.
Sure.
Like if I had to re-ask myself in my head, like, all right, how does this actually sound? And it's like checking that.
Yeah. I feel like I ask for help a lot. Like, even if it's just like giving a rundown to be like, all right, this is what all I'm thinking. Is that right? Just so that like you can feel confident when you go in to like present something or say something. And obviously you want to make sure you are in fact what you think you are doing is correct.
Because they say if you want to be successful, be in a room full of successful people and listen and do what they do.
Well, I think that's a good strategy, right? I mean, your environment should level you up, and certainly, as someone who's responsible for that, I would not be happy with my performance if we weren't creating a place where you felt like that was okay. So that's awesome. So I think that's really important. Like, just go were you surprised how open people were to helping you?
No.
Because some people, well, okay, that's them, but I think some people are afraid they're going to get like pushed off, right? Like,
we're like, oh, I'm busy, or oh, I'm doing something, or oh, I don't know. But no, Paul and Ron and other people in the office is kind of like, since they've been in business a bit longer, they're like those parent figures, like they're helping people out. I think some people thrive on that.
Awesome. So ask for help. Like, you'd be surprised the response you're going to get. So, 2024 was also a year that changed a lot of people's business, good and bad. What was like one of your standout moments or like a success story that you felt like really made you proud and really like codified everything that you were able to achieve in 2024?
So there definitely was a few, but when I saw this question, like one immediately came to mind. So I had this deal this past summer. Anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. We needed to sell the house to help the daughter buy her house. We needed those funds. This house failed every single inspection, from well to septic, chimney falling apart, everything. I had to do multiple price adjustments. Great location, too. Single family, everything. Then it went, as we're finally under contract, because we could essentially only get a cash offer at that point because a lot of things were wrong, it went under foreclosure right before settlement. And we had closed on a holiday week. So we're trying to get this house to settle on. I'm trying to keep everyone happy.
Oh, no.
On the buy side of my deal, my seller's happy. And then on the house we're buying, trying to keep that seller happy, trying to keep all the agents happy, and just and that house failed multiple inspections too. So like it was just back and forth. No matter what, every morning was something new. So once I got through that deal, both houses closed right before July 4th. I was like, if I can do this, I literally can do anything. And that's what like really gave me that. There's times like, how the hell can I do this for 20 years? But that deal was like, all right, if I can do it, I can do anything.
So you're going to have more of those, right? I think
100%.
but I think like what's that, Murphy's Law? What can go wrong will go wrong. I think that's really good. Really good feedback here. So,
and they were great. Like it was a great mom and daughter. They were great people. It was just down on their luck, and those things kept happening. But we pushed through, and it was great. We still have a good relationship to this day.
That's awesome.
Well, and I think that helps because I mean that they're happy when like you think like people are angry at you all the time. They're just stressed out about the deal. So I think that's a good lesson to learn there as well. So change is really constant, and it's a long year, right? Like everyone this time of year, everyone's like all pumped up. Like you see the energy at the office. But like it's hard to stay motivated. I don't believe you can motivate somebody. You got to do things for your reasons, not somebody else's. So what was your secret to keeping things going and continuing to grow your business, and what gets you excited about 2025?
Honestly, seeing how other agents have been successful in this business and thinking if they can do it, I can do it. And just thinking the things I've done the first few years in the business, pushing myself. And honestly, I love looking at my numbers, from my sales volume to commission to conversations to just all those things. How many sales I have each year. It's kind of like in the gym, macros. You hit those little things, you see the goals, and you start getting results. It starts keeping you going. Keeps you positive in that mindset.
So I'm hearing you track and measure things?
Yeah.
So have you heard that? I mean, so like, how does that, like, tell me more about that.
I look at CISU every day, and the moment I get a deal, or like every day see how my numbers were, I just love seeing, especially if I get a house under contract, buy or sell. I love seeing the volume go up, that number of sales go up, what the commission is going to be go up. Like I love seeing that, and it makes me want to, all right, let's go get the next one.
Right.
Awesome. Well, and I think the fact that it's like, it sounds like you're treating it like a scoreboard, right? Like it's like, hey, where's my business at? We were joking about, some gambling earlier, but that's like kind of the same thing. Like you don't know what's going on unless you have a scoreboard there. That's incredible. So there's probably somebody listening that like they want to get better in 2025, or they weren't like happy with what happened in 2024. What would you tell them if they wanted to see similar growth? Forget the 263%, which is unbelievable. What if they wanted to see like 20% growth, 30% growth, just progression, right? Because I think that's something you've always been working on, is progress, not perfection. What would you tell those folks?
I mean, I would, what's it called? I just would look at the people around me, see what they're doing, look at what I'm doing, see what I can tweak, what not to tweak, what's working, what isn't working, and kind of just move on from there. Because it's not like not everything you're doing is bad. There's just something's got to be tweaked, and there's going to be more successful people around you. There's always going to be a bigger fish, and you want to learn from that.
So hang out with people that are doing what you want to do.
Yes.
Love that. Very cool. So the last question I got for you here. So most agents, they fall into, like we call it the implementation gap, where they know what to do and they just can't execute on it. So what were some of your keys to your business that made you part of Club 13? So if you don't know what Club 13 is, everybody, these are the 13% of agents who actually make it and run a successful business. 80% of agents are out of their business in the first year. The number went up since the 75. Did you see that? So that's insane. So you've made it to the top 13% of an industry that is very difficult in a lot of ways. So what are some of the keys for you being able to implement on a consistent basis?
Just being myself, being professional, not coming off as a robot or money hungry, pretty much just developing a friendship. I'll just act going about how I was raised, treat people how you want to be treated, let them feel comfortable, let them know I'm a human. Like, this is the biggest decision and investment my client's going to make. You want to be there for them, let them know you're going to be there every step of the way, and my job is to help them, inform them, educate them, and not push them when they need to be pushed, but for the right reasons.
So when you say, like, becoming letting them know you're a person, like, what's some of the strategies there? It sounds like it's a lot of rapport building, but also, like, you're keeping it professional at the same time, which is not easy to do. I don't think a lot of people can do that. It's a very fine line. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's not like you're shopping at a mall. Whether they buy the house today, tomorrow, or next week, or next year, it's their decision, and I'm there to help them. You want them to feel trust. You want them to feel comfortable. I'm there to guide them, help them figure out what they're really looking for. You let them know that you'll leave a lasting impression that they won't forget. And no matter what happens, whether they take a break or they do buy the house and they want to sell it, they'll remember you and want to work with you later on. I still have clients I've been talking to over 3 years. I've met once. You leave that lasting impression, let them know I'm a human. I'm literally just like them, but I'm just there to help them. And to me, leaving that lasting impression does go a long way.
I love what you're talking about here, because I hear guidance. Like, you're not like selling anything; you're just trying to help people. So, what is your outlook on 2025 right now? Like, I'm pretty optimistic. I know Sarah's pretty optimistic. What's your feeling January 7th about where your business is going to end up this year?
I'm thinking it's going to be more than it was last year. I'm going to take what I did and improve on that. And I just got to hold myself accountable and aim high. So if I do come up short, at least I came up close. Like, my goal this year was 24 deals. I ended with 21. I came very close.
That's still an incredible year, though. I don't think people realize that. I mean, 47% of agents did not sell a home last year. The average agent sells like 3 to 4 properties. So, I mean, you're already like 8Xing that, which is pretty incredible. So, I love that you're just like trying to progress here. So what else do you got? You got a couple minutes here, Ed. What do you want to leave the audience here? What do you want to tell them about you? What's like a little known fact?
I would just go into the business as like I told you when I first started. This is my plan A. There is no plan B. If I'm going in here with doubt in my mind, it's like any job, any career, it's not going to work. Like, you see football players, basketball players. That's their plan A from they're a kid. That's their goal. If they have any doubt, it's just you're going to lose confidence. It's not going to work.
So when you say there's no backup plan, like, I mean, are you seeing other people they like kind of know, like, hey, if this doesn't work out really quickly, I'm leaving? Like, is that?
Yeah, and like people who I've befriended, who I've seen leave the team or leave the industry in general. Same thing with the military. People that joined, wanted to do 20 years. I was one of those people. Got in, realized, all right, like, just not feeling it. I want to do something else, and got out. It happens. But I'm going in with the mindset it's plan A, and because it's me doing this. I only get paid if I do the work. It's not someone's not giving me money.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about your military background. Do you think that helps you in this business? I mean, tell me, like, I think that's something a lot of people don't realize, like how things equate. Like, you wouldn't think military and real estate, like, right up the
definitely help deal with stupid people and situations and stress. When I say people, I mean, there's some bad agents out there and some great agents out there.
I was initially going to say, like, oh no, but like a lot of it does make sense. So I think it works.
Awesome. Well, Ed, we are grateful to call you a friend and a teammate here. Thanks for coming on. You want to follow Ed? Ed, you're on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle? What's the best place to catch you?
Eddie Parker 1031_.
All right. Eddie Parker 1031_. You can follow Sarah. She's at Ty_Ty Time. You can follow me at Tom Toole 3RD. We're on Instagram. If you got some value out of the show, do us a favor. Just subscribe to the channel. It takes 1 second. Hit Hit the bell for notifications, and we will be back next week on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.